Hey folks, Geewhoa here, and this is going to be the macro video that I spoke of in the very last episode. So, we're going to start this off by doing the macros in order. We can switch off with our 5th character whenever we want. So let's enter a random... Actually, I'll just cut to the battles right away. Oh, here's our first one. So this first macro is Nagra and Negatis, which makes Black Hole. So you have to use Ren's Negatis, but Kyra can use Gra, Gigra, or Nagra. As you go from the weakest to the strongest one, you know, the Black Hole's gonna get stronger as well. So there you go, it's an instant kill. It automatically kills all the enemies. Of course it won't instant kill bosses, and it won't work all the time, so just be aware of that. Hey, so here's our next macro. This one is the Blizzard macro, which we've seen time and time again. So there's 2 different ways to do it. This first way is you can use Wat, Giwat, or Nawat, or Chaz's Zan, Gizan, or Nazan. So here we go. This is Blizzard level 3. Extra powerful. And here's the second way you can do the Blizzard macro. So the first way was Nawat and either any of the Nawat spell, any of the Wat spells, any of the Zan spells, or you can use any of the Wat spells with Hewn. So here we have Kyra using Hewn and Rune using Nawat. So let's show this. It's also another way to do Blizzard. It actually did a lot more damage because Kyra has a lot of magic attack as well. Okay, so this next macro brings us northeast to the Valhalla Fort. I found myself using this macro a lot here. It's a great place to train, by the way, in your higher levels. So what you're gonna need is Ren's Hijammer and Rune's Tandle. You get Ren's Hijammer in the artificial satellite Curran. So once you have that, you can make this macro. So this instant kills all mechanical enemies. I'll show it here. And that's Circuit Break. So that's our 3rd macro, and moving on to the 4th. Oh look, a level up for Rika. Okay, so here is our 4th macro. This one is made by using any of the Wat spells and Tandle. So here we have Rune using Nawat and Kyra using Tandle. Together that will make Conduct Thunder. It's a pretty cool macro if I do say so myself. So that's it, on to number 5. Okay, so our 5th macro is the Destruction macro. And this is the deadliest macro in the game, does the most damage. It's a bit cheap though. Now most people don't know about this macro just because they don't know where to get Chaz's technique, Megid. And you'll actually find that on Recros to the west of the Courage Tower. I actually show that in part 62 of my Phantasy Star 4 Let's Play, so if you want to know, check that out. You'll also need Alcidian before you can enter that tower, so you'll get this right before the end of the game. So what you're going to use to make this macro is you need 4 people. You're going to need to use Rika's Deban, Chaz's Megid, Rune's Legion, Ren's Positron Bolt, and your 5th member can just do whatever they want. So Ren's Positron Bolt, you'll find that in Guild Mission 8, which is the Silver Soldier. That's in another one of my earlier episodes. I'll link that below too. So let's just show what this does. This is the Destructive Destruction macro. It does 999 damage. Yeah, so on to number 6. Okay, so here's our 6th macro, and this one is Firestorm. It's extremely similar to the Blizzard macro, which was Nawat and Zan, or Hewn and Nawat. But the Firestorm macro you can make a number of ways. There's 4 different ways, I believe. Yeah, it's denoted by my B through E macros actually. So the first way is using Nafoi and Nazan. Here we have Firestorm. And of course, the stronger Foi spell you use, the more powerful the Firestorm attack will be. And here's the second way of making the Firestorm macro, by using any of the Foi spells and Hewn. Now I noted in the first part you can also... If the stronger the Zan and the stronger the Foi spell, the stronger the attack's going to be. So here we have Nafoi and Hewn. This is also going to do Firestorm. Okay, the 3rd way of creating the Firestorm macro is by What is it? C? D. Using any of the Zan spells in Flaeli. So here we have Chaz using Nazan and Kyra using Flaeli. And that'll also do another Firestorm spell. So that's the third way, and on to the fourth. Okay, so the fourth and final way to create the Firestorm macro is by using Flaeli and Hewn. So here we go. So to sum up our Firestorm macros, there are 4 ways you can create it. The first way is using any of the Foi spells, any of the Zan spells. The second way is using any of the Foi spells together with the skill Hewn. The third way is using any of the Zan spells with Flaeli, which is a skill. And the last way is Flaeli and Hewn, which are both skills. Okay, so the 7th macro, and my favorite, is the Grand Cross macro, and that's put together by using Ren's Efess and Chaz's Crosscut. So using those two does Grand Crosso! Booyah! Very nice. But you need to be careful while using it, because some enemies will only take 1 damage from it. Grand Crosso! Wow, it only did 1 damage. Okay, so our 8th macro is the Holocaust macro. And here we have Han with us in our party, so that should just hint that we need him for this macro. So you use Han's Savol and Rune's Diem, and it should be an instant kill, I believe. Yep. So that was Holocaust. On to our 9th macro. So macro number 9 was taken from part 15 of my Let's Play of Phantasy Star 4. You use Elise's Death and Rika's Illusion, and it will make the Lethal Image macro. So here it is in this clip.
Cool. Alright, let's try this out. So Death and Illusion, Lethal Image. Insta-kill.
Hey everyone, so here's our 10th macro. This one is put together by using Han's Astral and Chaz's Rayblade. So here we have Rayblade and Astral, and it does a lot of damage to a single enemy target. It's called Paladin Blow, but on the screen it says Paladin Blow. And it's one of the attacks that doesn't affect all the enemies on the screen. But it does do a lot of damage to one enemy, so that's our 10th macro. On to our 11th. So this is our 11th macro. It's an instant kill attack. It'll only work on like evil type enemies, so it won't work on caterpillars or flies, which is pretty weird. But if you use Raya's Holyword and Rune's Efess, together that will make... Oh. After we take a few hits, Purify Light, and that instant kills enemies. So there we go. That's our 11th macro. On to our 12th. Okay, so here's our 12th macro. This can be performed in 2 ways, either using, Burstroc and Nafoi, or Burstroc and Flaeli. So let's try the first one. Burstroc and Nafoi will make the Shooting Star macro. It's pretty much an even stronger Burst Rocket. So the second way to perform the Shooting Star macro is using Burstroc and Flaeli, and here we go. Shooting Star. Also, you get the Burstroc skill for Ren in the weapons plant on Desolus. I'll link the episode below. Okay, so here's our 13th macro. We're almost at the end, people. So you're gonna need Demi in your party for this one because you need her Phonomizer. So you use that and Chaz's Air Slash, and that will create Silent Wave, which affects all the enemies on the screen and does a pretty nice amount of damage. On to our last and final macro. Okay, so here's our 14th and final macro. This one is a really good one to use early on in the game. You actually have to use the lowest level spells. I've tried it with like Nafoi, Nawat, and Nathu, and it just doesn't work. So it only works with Foi, Wat, and Su, and together this makes Triblaster. Very nice. So that finishes up all the macros in the game. I hope all of you enjoyed this episode and found it very helpful. A lot of people have trouble, like I said before, with the Destruction macro because they never know where to get Megid. So if I'll find the episode for it and I'll post it in my description just in case you need help. I believe it's like 50 or 51 around there, but I'll post it in the description. So I hope all of you enjoyed this. I'll also write all like how to make all the macros in the description, as well as having it here on the screen as well. So thank you all for watching so much. If you enjoyed this, please check out my Let's Play of Phantasy Star 4. It was a blast. It's my favorite RPG of all time. Yeah, just let me know how I'm doing. Leave a comment, subscribe if you like my videos, all that cool stuff. And be sure to check out the videos of some of my friends. You know, they're doing some pretty awesome Let's Plays, especially ALG, Hyoran 12, Reign of Hearts, along with many others. So, check it out, guys, and I will see all of you later. I'm finally finished with Phantasy Star 4. I'm not sure what my next Let's Play is going to be, so stay tuned for that. So until the next time, Geewhoa out.